Well, thank you very much. Welcome. We're here in Durban this morning, and it's a wonderful place to be here. I think it's for the first time that I'm experiencing physically being here in this passenger terminal, the new MSC passenger terminal for cruise passengers who come through from various countries visiting our beautiful coast. And as they come here, they obviously take some local passengers and people enjoy their time. But this was chosen for a very good purpose. Because this is a demonstration of the partnership between a public authority and the private sector. And the result of it is that it works. And you can see, I think later on, you'll see the footage of the passenger terminal here. But you would ask yourself, but why are we here? We are here because the journey towards 2030, where South Africa must become an international maritime center, is on course. 2017, in the history of this country, our beloved cabinet approved the comprehensive maritime transport policy. And as the servant of the state responsible for facilitating the writing of the maritime policy, we achieved again through private participation. The citizens participated in the development of the comprehensive maritime transport policy. And then we said the commitment was that we cannot have a policy that will gather dust. And the CMTP, you can download it, you can check it on the net, is the comprehensive maritime transport policy is alive and is being implemented by government. Now, we are 5 years of the CMTP. That's why in April this year, 20 to 22nd, we are grateful that you were part of the event yourself, either physically or through the virtual platforms that we had created to take stock of the CMTP, review it and see whether was this going to deliver us to an IMC status by 2030. The date for maritime sector, as I've said, in South Africa is 2030. We must be an international maritime center. Now, the conference then on the 20th to 22nd of April this year, overwhelmingly said the policy is right. But there were concerns that we have not moved much in the implementation, which was fair enough, a reasonable judgment. Then, although there was progress, I think you would be familiar with the program of government, Operation Pakisa, the ocean economy, and all of that. All those contributed, because it was Operation Pakisa, by the way, which identified that you needed a comprehensive maritime transport policy. And fast forward, 2017 was delivered. Now, in April, we were then reviewing as government, as the private sector, to see how far have we moved. So major decisions were made there, and we were blessed with the presence of our principals, the minister and the deputy minister, graced the event because it was their event, because policy is an executive responsibility. That's why it was approved by cabinet. And the minister was there, and stakeholders made contributions. And the key word that came out of that midterm review of the CMTP was collaboration. The sector was hungry for collaboration. Amazing. Because you had the maritime sector are the citizens of the maritime state. So if our policies respond to the maritime sector, it means it responds to the citizens of the maritime sector. In this case, private companies, workers in the sector, service. The whole value chain of the maritime sector is rich. And it is yet to be fully understood and appreciated. Because with it, you can do wonders, creating jobs and building a true maritime state, which we want to achieve by 2030. Now, the key word, as I've said, was collaboration. And as government, we said, you've got those that are supposed to be regulated by the policy, saying that we love this policy, we want to be part of its implementation. Any responsible government, and in line with the call by the president of the country to build on this concept of a social compact, where you've got government working with the citizens, working with the private sector. That's what is being encouraged. Because that model is a model where you have those with money that we are inviting to invest, for them to, with confidence, say we have participated, therefore we can invest our money. So today, in the history of the maritime sector and the agenda towards 2030, is that the private sector is going to be saying, we are here. The maritime sector, the core, not the periphery, the core of the sector says, we want to be part of this journey. And we don't want to be passengers, but we want to drive those aspects that speak to us. And therefore, government work with us. This is the message that's going to come out here today. Now, what is it then in essence? In essence is that you will have announced today the establishment, the establishment of the task force network, Maritime Transport Development Task Force Network. So it's a network. So this network is made up of specific task forces. Maybe it sounds like a military language, but this just shows the seriousness that people who want to drive this, they want to see the results through collaboration. So the task force, we've got six of them. They are looking at specific areas. And then other people may say, but we've got all the other structures in the sector. But the reality is that those structures are there and everyone is participating. But this is now a structure made up of those who want to put in their resources to make a contribution, to invest into this thing. Because by having private companies participating in such initiative means that the call for creation of jobs, the call for the broadening of the maritime value chain is going to happen. It's not going to be a discussion, but it is going to happen. So the task forces, the first one is looking at the maritime value chain, unpacking the maritime value. Remember that 2022, the theme for the maritime sector, all of the maritime sector, is unpacking the maritime value chain. Okay, so there is a specific task force dealing with that, and it will be introduced there. And the other task force is looking into upscaling through collaboration. Upscaling. So it means that we are not 5 years after this, since the adoption of the CMTP, we want to upscale. So we are upping the game. So upping the game means the sector is saying they want to come in. We can see it's working. We want to come in and make a meaningful contribution. So scaling up, the third task force is dealing with decarbonization of the maritime sector. Remember, we made commitments, the conference of parties looking at the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Shipping has to make a contribution, but we then say, for the challenges that we have in the energy sector, the maritime sector has something to contribute. So this maritime decarbonization task force is going to be looking into those matters. Already, there's a lot of work that government is doing pertaining to the commercialization of hydrogen, green hydrogen. So that task force is going to look into those matters. And then the fourth task force is specific looking at what future maritime human resources are we going to need by 2030. So the task force specifically looking at maritime human resources. Then the fifth one is looking at space solutions for maritime sector. It's critical. This country has got space technologies. In Africa, we're number one with space technologies. But this task force is now going to look into how we could harvest that to advance the maritime agenda. There's huge potential. So they will be looking into what can space solutions bring into the maritime sector. So that's very critical. Then the other task force is looking into how can we collaborate through exchange of information. That will involve the things like digitization. So it's going to be looking at how maritime communications could be advanced to a level where the country can be a fully fledged maritime. All of these task forces contributes into the agenda of delivering South Africa to be an international maritime center by 2017. Now, those that follow the maritime media, there was, I think this year there was a competition that was looking into who are the champions of the ocean economy. And those champions of the ocean economy, there was top 3. So those top 3 volunteered and availed themselves that they can facilitate the coordination of the network. So the president of the network is Prashin Maharaj, who is, I think, known to the sector. If you don't know him, Google him. Young man, he's doing wonders in the shipbuilding sector. So he heads the network. Then we've got a young man who is currently responsible for marine services at Waterfront, Lindani Mchunu. If you don't know Lindani, Google him. You would see the wonderful work that he has done specifically in the boat sector. He has sailed. He's a sailor himself. So young people must look up to people like Lindani, who has helped to transform the boating sector in the country. Then the second vice president of the network is Ms. Makhosi Mbogazi, a wonderful lady who is a seafarer and an officer. She's Captain. My apologies to her. She's Captain Makhosi Mbogazi, second vice president of the network. So you can see that combined, there is a strong industry interest and participation. All the task forces are led by the private sector, and we are nurturing and supporting and engaging, collaborating with them. And I think all of us should watch this space. The network would contribute greatly in delivering South Africa to be an international maritime center by 2030.